Hi, this is the model of the theory that I've made. As you can see it in your screen, um, this is the atomic model that I have formulated. And I've mentioned one more thing that uh, I'll be publishing, writing it in four different languages since I'm comfortable with all four, mostly English since that's how I've done my education. तो मैं हिंदी में भी बोलता हूँ ताकि ये लगे कि हाँ ये मेरा ही काम है, मैंने ये किसी से कॉपी नहीं किया है। तो इसमें जो क्वांटम मैकेनिक्स के फ्लॉज है वो दिख जाएंगे आपको, वो मैं बाद में एक्सप्लेन कर दूंगा। मैंने राइटिंग में डिटेल में लिखा है सब। ये बस इसका आप सोच सकते हो कि इसके जैसा है वो प्रोटॉन और इलेक्ट्रॉन। फिलहाल न्यूट्रॉन का भी है उसमें, वो बाद में मैं उसे अरेंज कर दूंगा, ये फिलहाल ड्राफ्ट में है। तो मैं बस ये वीडियो क्रिएट कर रहा हूँ ताकि बाद में इसका लिंक शेयर कर सकूँ फाइल में, क्योंकि वीडियो अपलोड करने का कोई ये तरीका नहीं है इसमें जहाँ मुझे पब्लिश करना है इसे, या बुक में ऐसा नहीं कर सकूँगा। तो बट मुझे ये दिखाना ज़रूरी था। एंड ये जो आप देख रहे हैं ये सिर्फ एक इसकी तरह है, एक मास। हाँ, ये मास है। अगर वो एनर्जी होता तो वो स्प्रिंग के शेप में होता। जो मैंने दूसरे वीडियोस में यूट्यूब पे अपलोड करके रखा है मेरे चैनल पर, तो आप वो देख सकते हैं। यही आगे जाके कन्वर्ट होता है। अगर आप ऑब्जर्व करेंगे कि यहाँ पे कुछ जो सर एलिप्स या सर्कल जो भी आप उसे कहेंगे, वो जो उसका मोशन है वो उसका हीट स्पिन है, जैसे मैंने एक्सप्लेन किया है मेरे थियोरी में। उस वजह से वो उसमें मूवमेंट आता है। वो जब ज़्यादा बढ़ जाता है तो उसका एंट्रोपी बढ़ता है, जिसके वजह से वो उसके कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स चेंज होते हैं, हीट जनरेट होता है, एनर्जी ट्रांसफ़र होता है, वोल्टेज डेवलप होता है, एंड सो ऑन। आयोनाइजेशन होता है, लाइट एमिट होता है, एनर्जी स्टेट चेंज होता है, कलर एमिट होता है, बॉन्डिंग होता है, अलग अलग टाइप की चीज़ें होती है यही स्पिन को लेकर। मैंने बेसिक टाइप्स ऑफ स्पिन एक्सप्लेन किए हैं मेरे थियोरी में। उसमें हीट स्पिन है, मास स्पिन है। ये दो मेजर स्पिन्स है। मास स्पिन ये आप देख रहे हैं, हीट स्पिन जो उसका हीट स्विंग पहले आएगा, जो वो थोड़ा वॉबल करता है, उसके बाद हीट स्पिन आता है। जब हीट स्पिन होगा तो मास स्पिन उसका थोड़ा मतलब इतना नहीं नेग्लिजिबल होता है तभी, तो वो कम्प्लीटली एनर्जी कन्वर्जन स्टेट में चले जाता है। तो वो मोमेंट होता है जब मास एनर्जी में कन्वर्ट होने लग जाता है। उस वक्त इसका ये स्पायरल सर्कल शेप हट के एक्चुअली ये ब्रेक डाउन होता है और फिर एक स्पायरल शेप ले लेता है, जो इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक वेव्स की तरह जो हम देखते हैं वैसे ट्रैवल करता है। एक्चुअली वो वेव नहीं होता है, एक स्पायरल होता है, और वो फोटॉन्स भी नहीं होता है। और एक चीज़ जो मैंने इस मतलब मेरे थियोरी में मेंशन किया है, जो फ्लोरेसेंस इफेक्ट है वो इसके वजह से होता है, प्रोटॉन्स की वजह से, इलेक्ट्रॉन्स की वजह से नहीं। और केमिस्ट्री में भी काफ़ी चीज़ें हैं कि जो हमारे डी ब्लॉक के एलिमेंट्स है, जो ट्रांजिशन एलिमेंट्स है, तो हर एलिमेंट उसमें अलग कलर प्रॉपर्टीज दिखाता है। आयन के अलग कलर है, टाइटेनियम, कॉपर, जो भी मेटल्स है उनके सबके अलग अलग कलर्स है। तो ऐसा क्यों है? तो वो उसका थोड़ा सा बाकी है एग्जैक्टली क्यों, बट वो इसी से एक्सप्लेन होने वाला है। एक स्पेसिफिक लाइट इनपुट पे जो इसका एनर्जी स्टेट चेंज होता है, उसके वजह से अंदर थोड़ा सा वो रिफ्रैक्शन जैसा आप बोल सकते होता है, उसके वजह से वो एक स्पेसिफिक कलर एमिट करता है। तो वो स्ट्रक्चर की वजह से होता है उसका। सिमिलर टू मैंने एक एग्जांपल दिखाया है मेरे वीडियोस में, प्रिज्म और ग्लास स्लैब, दो चीज़ें यूज़ की है। तो जो ग्लास स्लैब है उसके थ्रू ग्रीन लेज़र मैंने यूज़ किया है, तो वो जब जाता है तो वो रिफ्रैक्ट होता है नॉर्मल जैसा हम एक्सपेक्ट करेंगे। बट वही जब अ, एक प्रिज्म से किया एक्सपेरिमेंट, तो फिर उसमें वो ग्रीन लेज़र कन्वर्ट हो गया रेड में। अब नेचुरल बात है, और हम सब सीखे हैं कि लेज़र होता है ये, अभी उसका मैं फुल फॉर्म भूल गया, बट एनीवेज वो एक कोहेरेंट लाइट होता है यानी कि वो फेज में होता है, और मोनोक्रोमेटिक होता है यानी कि सिंगल कलर, उसमें दूसरा कोई कलर नहीं होता है। तो एक ग्रीन कलर का लेजर रेड कैसे हो सकता है? तो रिफ्रैक्शन में एक्चुअली होता क्या है, वो मेरे थ्योरी में एक्सप्लेन किया है कि लाइट वेव्स थोड़े कॉम्प्रेस हो जाते हैं, तो डॉपलर इफेक्ट जैसा उसमें होता है, इसलिए ग्रीन लेजर रेड हो जाता है। और यही रीजन है उसका स्लो होने का, और उसका मतलब कलर भी चेंज होता है और मोमेंटम भी लूज करता है वो थोड़ा। जैसे ही वो प्रिज्म से बाहर आता है, तो फिर से वो अपना मोमेंटम रिगेन कर लेता है, और फिर वो अपने नॉर्मल कलर में चले जाता है, या तो वैक्यूम में होगा या फिर एयर में। बट अगर हम दूसरा प्रिज्म उसके आगे लगाते हैं, एक प्रिज्म के बाद दूसरा प्रिज्म, तो वो रेड लाइट ही कंटिन्यू होता है उसके आगे, रेड लेजर जैसा दिखता है वो। ये मैंने मेरे वीडियोस में दिया है। और हाँ, जैसे मैंने बोला, चार भाषा है, तो अभी मैंने दो ही बोले, उसमें से हिंदी ज़्यादा बोला है, तर मी मराठीत बोलतो आता. तर हे थिअरी मी 2008 पासून तयार करतोय. मी शाळेत असताना मी 8वी कक्षात होतो त्यावेळेस त्यावेळेस माझं लक्ष इथं गेलं होतं. ते आपल्या बाथरूममध्ये असतं ना, ते फ्लश फ्लश नाही, काय म्हणतो त्याला, ते असं, ते जेट स्प्रे असतं. हो. मग ते असं कॉईल शेपमध्ये होतं, ज्यावेळेस मी काढलं होतं ते धुण्यासाठी. आणि मग त्याच्यानंतर काय झालं, की सनलाईट पडली त्याच्यावर, आणि जे मी त्याचं शॅडो बघितलं, ते असं वेव्ह सारखं होतं. त्यावेळेस मला काहीच आयडिया नव्हतं वेव्ह वगैरे काय आहे. पण हातात हे 3D ऑब्जेक्ट आहे, आणि तिथं मला एक 2D दिसतंय. ते माझ्या डोक्यात बसलं. त्याच 1-2 वर्षानंतर लाईट काय आहे, हे फोटॉन, ते हे आणि ते कळलं थोडं फार आपल्याला. कलर्स का दिसतंय, बाकीचे वस्तू का दिसते, अंधारात का दिसत नाही. त्यानंतर 11वी-12वीत समज त्यात फिजिक्समध्ये मेन्शन केलंय की लाईटला डुअल प्रॉपर्टीज आहे, फोटॉन पण आहे आणि वेव्ह पण आहे. वेव्ह कशाला, कारण की यंग्स एक्सपेरिमेंट आहे, डबल स्लिट एक्सपेरिमेंट, त्यात ते इंटरफेरन्स पॅटर्न भेटतं आपल्याला. आणि फोटॉन्स कशाला म्हणताय, कारण की आईन्स्टाईननी सांगितलं होतं की ज्यावेळेस आपण सेमीकंडक्टर सिलिकॉन सारखं घेतो, आणि ते पॅराबॉलिक प्लेट सारखं त्याला अरेंज केलं, त्याच्यावर सनलाईट पडतं, ज्यात फोटॉन्स असतं, असं त्यांचं आझम्पशन होतं. आणि ते समोरचे एक मेटल प्लेट, असं गॅप असतं त्याच्यामध्ये, ओके, थोडंसं जास्त नाही. मग ते फोटॉन्स मध्ये मोमेंटम असतं बॉल सारखं. मग ते हे सेमीकंडक्टरला हिट करतं, आणि त्यामधून फ्री इलेक्ट्रॉन्स बाहेर पडतात, आणि ते मग ते मेटल प्लेटला चिटकतात, आणि मग सर्किट कम्प्लीट होतं, आणि मग आपल्याला ते सोलर एनर्जी भेटतं. आणि ते डीसी असतं, डायरेक्ट करंट, ते बॅटरीज चार्ज करू शकतं. माझ्या theory मी एसी आणि डीसीचं पण डिफरन्स, म्हणजे ऍक्च्युली काय आहे ते एक्सप्लेन केलंय. कारण की प्रॉब्लेम हे आहे, मला सुद्धा किती, माझं इंजिनिअरिंग झालंय आणि 10 वर्ष, 2011 पासून आता चालू आहे 2023. मी कॉलेज लाईफलाच होतो. 2021 पर्यंत 10 वर्ष कॉलेज काढली, आणि हा थिअरी माझं चालूच होतं बॅकग्राऊंडमध्ये. हळू काही गोष्ट मला लगेच कळत होते, काही एकदम ॲब्सोल्यूट होते. आणि किती आपल्याला मिसकन्सेप्शन्स शिकवलं गेलं शाळेत. अं, हे अं, आपण लहान असताना शाळेत शिकवतात की एक गरम वस्तू असतं, एक थंड वस्तू असतो, मग आपण ते दोघं मिक्स केलं तर ते टेम्परेचर बॅलन्स होतं. पण इंजिनिअरिंगमध्ये कळलं की कूलिंग इफेक्टच नव्हतं. कूलिंग म्हणजे काहीच नाहीये, फक्त हिटिंग असतं. हॉट ऑब्जेक्ट कोल्ड ऑब्जेक्टला हिट करतात, तेवढंच आहे. युनिडायरेक्शनल आहे एनर्जी. एनर्जी टू वे नाही फ्लो होत. तसेच ते कॉन्सेप्ट मी पुढे घेऊन गेलो. मग मी विचार केला की प्रोटॉन आणि इलेक्ट्रॉन का ते पॉझिटिव्ह निगेटिव्ह दाखवतो. मग ते नील्स बोरचं पण एक हे, नाही, ते रुदरफोर्डने जेव्हा ते ॲटॉमिक स्ट्रक्चर हे केलं होतं त्याचं, तर त्याने सांगितलं की सेंटरमध्ये प्रोटॉन्स आहे, पॉझिटिव्ह आहे, बाहेर इलेक्ट्रॉन्स आहे, निगेटिव्ह आहे. पण हे सिद्ध झालं होतं की प्रोटॉन्स आणि इलेक्ट्रॉन्स अट्रॅक्ट इच अदर. मग ते इलेक्ट्रॉन प्रोटॉनमध्ये का पळत नाही, म्हणजे जसं ग्रॅव्हिटी आपल्याला अर्थवर ठेवतं, तर ते इलेक्ट्रॉन एवढं लाईट वेट असून, प्रोटॉन एवढं हेवी वेट असून, हा जर आता त्यांचे कॅल्क्युलेशन आहे ते माझं नाही आहे, पण अप्रॉक्सिमेटली 1000 टाइम्स 1070 समथिंग टाइम्स हेवी आहे इलेक्ट्रॉनपेक्षा. मग ते अट्रॅक्ट करून त्याचं हे काय म्हणतात, सेंट्रिपेटल फोर्स नाही, ऍक्सेलरेशन, काय ते टँजेन्शियल वेलोसिटी काहीतरी, त्याचं जे ज्याने ते रोटेट होतंय त्याच्या अराउंड, ते पळत का नाही खाली ते न्यूक्लियस मध्ये ॲटमच्या. नील्स बोरने काहीतरी एनर्जी स्टेट वगैरे सांगितलं, ते ते मला हे काय म्हणते वेग वाटलं. इट डझंट साऊंड अप्रोप्रिएट. म्हणजे असं म्हणतात की बादल त्या हाईटला कशाला जस्ट असंच बादल का खाली पडत नाही. मग मी ते माझा विचार होता. मी बादलकडे लक्ष देतो. मला माहिती आहे बादल पाण्याने हे स्टीम आहे बेसिकली, आणि वॉटर मॉलिक्युल्स तर हेवी असतं. मग ते एवढं वरती कसं आहे, खाली का नाही? त्यांनी काहीतरी लॉजिक लावून ते गोष्टी घेऊन आणि हे केलं. मी पण ते माझ्या थेअरीमध्ये टाकलंय इलेक्ट्रॉन क्लाउड म्हणून. पण ऍक्च्युअल रिझन आणि आपले क्लाउड्स पण तिथं कशाला आहे आणि खाली येत नाही, एवढं ग्राउंड लेवलला नाही आहे. त्याचं रिझन हे आहे की चार्ज जे आहे ना, ते पॉझिटिव्ह निगेटिव्ह नसतं. ते फक्त लो चार्ज आणि हाय चार्ज असतं. जे प्रोटॉन आहे त्याचं चार्ज हाय असतं, जे इलेक्ट्रॉन आहे त्याचं चार्ज लो असतं. आणि एनर्जी ऑलवेज फ्लोज फ्रॉम हाय टू लो कुठल्याही गोष्टीमध्ये. इट अप्लाइज युनिव्हर्सली टू एव्हरीथिंग. हर चीज में अप्लाय होता है वो. हम्म. आता 3 भाषा झाल्या. आता मी माझ्या मातृभाषेमध्ये बोलतो. अह, আমি বেঙ্গলি, তো একটু বাংলা দিয়ে বলি, নাহলে আমার আম, বন্ধুগণকে ভাল লাগবে না যে আমি অন্য ভাষা দিয়ে কথা বলছি আর বাংলা ভুলে গেছি। ট্রাই করছি, দেখি। তো আমি জানি বেশি লোক বুঝবে না, কিন্তু ঠিক আছে, আমারও অনেক টাফ টাইম আমি পার করে আসছি। তো একটু একটু বাংলা দিয়ে বলি, তারপরে আই উইল কন্টিনিউ ইন ইংলিশ এন্ড আদার ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজেস। তো হ্যাঁ, তো বাদলটা দেখতে দেখতে এটা হয়েছে কি বাদল আর অলমোস্ট সেম ডাইরেকশনে রোটেট হয়, আর ইলেকট্রন আর প্রোটনও সেম এটা করে। আর আরেকটা ফেনোমেনা অবজার্ভ করছে কি ফ্যান, যেটাও রোটারি মেশিন যায় আহ, আসে, সে মধ্যে হয় না কি বলে, ওকে ফাইন, বেঙ্গলি ইজ নট ওকে, let me try some other language. I'll try English only because I learned in it. So, you know the concept of Fleming's left and right hand rule. If you don't, you can read about it. So, left hand rule is basically for motors, right hand rule is for generators. So, when current is passed into our fans, if you know how our induction motors work, so basically, uh, there are magnets and there is a coil. Okay, now either the coil could be outside or inside, and same for the magnets, either the magnet could be outside or inside. One of them has to be stationary, one has to be rotating, obviously, otherwise the fan won't rotate. So let's say you attach like outside you keep the magnets and coil in the center, and let's say we are using a three-phase motor. So you'll arrange like in star or delta shape, you'll attach three wires to it. And what you would do is you won't like, it's not onto us, but it's the mechanism is made in such a way that current is passed through each coil at a phase difference. So let's say one or let's say if we use four, like for simplicity, because I'm not using any pen or tools around me. So for ease of calculations, let's say we are using four wires. Now calculation will become a little easy because we can start at 0 degrees, then the next current I'll supply at 90 degrees, then after that I'll supply at 180 degrees, then 270 degrees, and then 360 degrees. So if you see, I've supplied here, then here, then here, then here, here. Okay. So this gives an effect of a rotating magnetic field as current comes here. The coil is attracted towards this magnet. Okay. Now, this is a this is an electromagnet, permanent. Let's just say it's magnet for now. Okay. So current comes in, it pulls the coil towards itself. Now current is cut off. So this is not magnet. So definitely it should be electromagnet. Let's see. Yeah, it is electromagnet, obviously. Because only electromagnets, if you cut off the current, it stops behaving like a magnet. Okay, then what next happens is, then this is the next magnet and the current comes here, and so this thing will rotate towards it. Then here, then it rotates here, then it comes here, and that's how your fan starts working. Or any rotary device, not just fan, anything that rotates. EV vehicles also work on the same principle. This thing, it can use from anywhere between, like, single coil induction motor. It's like you need a capacitor for that to start. I'm not very familiar with that because I'm not from electronics background, but yeah, my theory does explain it very well. So it's a three-phase motor is easier to explain since it doesn't require a starter, um, like the capacitor, to store charge and show it direction. We can decide the direction. We can also reverse the direction in case of three-phase motors. It is not possible in single-phase motors to reverse the direction. Anyways, you can use more than three, four, five, six, seven, eight, how many ever you want to keep on adding. So the thing is, the magnetic field will always be ahead of the uh, rotor. Okay, the it will create magnetic fields like this. Okay, and the rotor will keep following it. That's how it works. But as you're seeing, it's following the same direction. So in the figures that you see, you'll see that some are following, like, the larger circle and the smaller circle inside it are following the same direction. Okay, but in some they're going opposite, and some are stuck close to each other, showing mating of two, like bonding of two electron, yeah, atoms. Okay. Now the thing is, you might think, if you are from engineering background, or uh, just using a little bit of general knowledge, that you cannot rotate two things in the same direction. It doesn't happen. You need to rotate it in the opposite direction. So that's how I had to work a little more on this, and then I came up with the thing that these things are actually not like that. They are more like gears. Now, my confusion was whether they are left-handed gears or right-handed gears. So I am still preparing that. Okay, but the thing is, all electrons and protons and every subatomic particle has the same hand. It's either left hand or right hand, and they all rotate in the same direction. There is no alternate direction. There is no other alternate thing. It's just one thing. It just goes in one direction. It's just that one is faster, one is slower, one is smaller, one is larger. There's no opposite direction, there's no negative sign. There is nothing as negative numbers. So then I come to the conclusion, like, even if you have a negative scale and you take the reference point as where the negative scale starts, the smallest negative number, now you have an entirely positive scale. It's all about your reference point. So simply you can discard the concept of negative numbers. Negative numbers is when you are trying to, ease out calculations. Like, let's say if you're using the Kelvin scale. So in that, like, temperatures are a bit complicated to measure, because in degrees Celsius you have smaller numbers, and uh, we have been more, like, at least in India, more it's very commonly used. Doctors use Fahrenheit at times to measure our temperature because it's a little more sensitive than degree Celsius. But degree Celsius is also fine. We get smaller values. Ambient temperature is around 24, 25 degrees, 30, 35 degrees in summer, and most of the places goes up to 40. These are the usual terms we use. Now, if we have to convert this into Kelvin, we have to add 273 to it. Now, why this specific number? Because absolute zero, what they say, is where any kind of motion would begin due to heat generation or heat addition. Okay, that is where the heat spin actually begins, or heat swing actually, not spin. Spin begins at very high speeds, like that would be fusion temperatures. Okay, that is when you would get your nuclear fission and fusion reactions. That is where you get your heat spin, very high temperatures, plasma, those temperatures. At lower temperatures, it's just heat swing. Okay, so it just increases kinetic energy and motion of your atoms, and also increases the size of your atoms. So most of the things that are currently used in physics are definitely applicable to this theory, but my theory and my model expands it a little more by completely negating, like there is no negative number and there is no zero. Absolute zero also does not exist. So it's no point trying to achieve it. Now zero would be a place, like let's say this is my mouse, okay, for the laptop that I use, and I place this into something, it disappears. And when I pull it out, it comes back. Now, if there is a place like that anywhere in the universe, that place would be zero because its existence would be gone completely. Now, the thing about the zero that we use has two meanings. One of the zeros is just a loop, okay, so which creates the illusion of infinity. Suppose you are on a racetrack which is just 800 meters in circumference. What will happen if you keep running over it again and again and again, over and over, and you stop counting how many times you ran? You will think that you are covering infinite distance. In fact, you're not. You are just going round and round in circles. This can also be scaled up, and we can think about the universe of being finite. How can universe be infinite when it has only been there for a limited amount of time, as they have calculated? Some say 13 billion years, some say 91, 92 billion years. Whatever it is a finite amount of time. And as far as I know, energy will be equal to time multiplied with something. That is the total amount of energy generated till now. Now that will definitely be limited. It's not unlimited. So if if energy in the universe is limited, the universe itself is finite. Then it's just that we are going round and round in circles. And then there is this thing of redshift. Why do we observe redshift? Of course, like let's say there is smoke in the air, or if you're trying to mix, let's say lassi, or just what do we say, surf or something in water. Okay. Now, when you rotate it fast, you know that your spoon or hand is going much faster than the uh, precipitation that is formed on top of it, right? So once that is there, like it lags behind, and when you go let go of it, you see that all the precipitation doesn't go at the same speed. They all go at different speeds, and that is how you get your redshift. And since everything is traveling in only one direction, that is why redshift. If things start traveling in opposite direction, only then you will get your blue shift, because in same direction everything will appear to be moving apart from each other, and everything is going round in circles, so it will feel like it's covering infinite distance. So, and eliminating zero and using just a very small number, let's say if we use Planck's constant as any function in trigonometry, it eliminates all the errors that we get due to zero. Now the thing is, then you would ask that what about the graph, that empty space that comes in where the function does not exist? It does exist, but it is not in 2D space. It is in 3D space. It is either outside or inside the screen. That is the reason why you cannot see it. It is there. It does exist. It's just not possible to represent it on 2D. So that is one more reason you cannot use zero as a function. So zero is either a loop, or it has um, like like very small value. It's not zero. and there is no negative number. So the smallest number that you can say that exists is Planck's constant. I don't know how they came up with the value, but it just take any smallest number that you can possibly think of, okay? But it cannot be zero or negative. That will be the. But then you cannot also just take any value, because let's face it. So let's say you have a 15 centimeter scale. Now, few YouTubers and few scientists, they argue that if you keep dividing, let's just say it's 1 and 2, okay, point 1 and 2. So you do 1 plus 2 and divide with 2, you get 1.5. Then you add 1 and 1.5, you get 2.5. You divide with 2, you get 1.25, and you keep doing that. And they say you can do that infinitely. I don't think so. Distance between point A and B, 1 and 2, or the 15 centimeter scale, it is finite. You cannot have infinite space between it. There is finite amount of space, you can see it. So, and that is how I came up with the concept that the universe has like a smallest unit. It's the resolution of the universe, and it is the Planck's constant. It is the small, but then it does go smaller than the Planck's constant, but it is not the resolution of the universe. Why I say that is because you have seen, and I think you can probably see it now as well, and it is always around you, shadows. Yes, have you ever thought about it, what this thing is? Just a remnant of light? I don't think so. I call it the non-Planck charges. Charges which are not registered under like the universe itself cannot observe it, because it is that small. And but it is not insignificant, it is very significant. It weighs much more than regular matter, approximately 4 to 5 times more. I don't know how they've calculated it, but scientists have calculated the spin of galaxies and all. And I was wondering, and they did mention that dark matter is something we cannot interact with. So I could think only about one thing: shadows. It is one thing we cannot remove from ourselves. It's something we cannot interact with. It's something if kept on us doesn't affect us, but then they say it's heavy, and yeah, pretty much fits the definition of dark matter. And I've also explained what is dark energy. It is completely different. It is the, let's say, it is the restoring force of the universe. Now, I've explained how the universe began in my theory. So the universe basically like was just empty, nothing. Okay, just flat plane, or just say a cloth or rubber band, something just completely stable. Somehow, some disturbance was planned, created by someone. I am not going to mention that. I'm not mentioning any god or as of such, which god did it or which religion came first. No, it's not nothing religious. Let's just stick to science. Someone created a disturbance in space time, which created a ripple in the fabric of space time. Now that ripple is unstable. It's not the equilibrium position of the universe. Now the universe does not like it. Simply you can say, okay, it wants to maintain balance. It starts stretching out, and that's how. So as Einstein has said that mass is nothing but curvature of space time. So yes, you can see many things we see around us, but this is just what our eyes show us. At the universal scale, this all is insignificant. It's all how space-time is bent. We exist because we have bent space-time, and that is how we are visible to each other. This is we bending space-time somewhere. That is how we occupy space. We bend it and we start occupying it. So when we occupy it, and that's how anything and everything has to dissipate energy. It dissipates because of dark matter. Dark energy. The universe stretches itself at a very high rate, okay, and we dissipate energy at a very low rate, depending on how much amount of energy we carry. That will decide your lifetime or lifetime of anything. And that is one reason why radioactive decay have like half life, and they decay very quickly because they are releasing a lot of energy. So the universe is pulling much harder on them, you can say, as they are much heavier. So heavier you are, the harder you fall basically. So the universe is just stretching it apart, and that is how it releases energy. That is how anything releases energy. And again, if you try to contract it, you get mass. Simply that is how mass converts into energy, and energy converts into mass. So that is about dark energy, and I think I've covered most of the things. Um, yeah. Uh, thing about even once this is these subatomic particles are converted into spirals, so that spiral also has just one specific type of thread. Now I'll be coming up with a definite answer very soon. It's either left-handed or right-handed, cannot be both. And okay, I have a practical example of what DC is. So just give me a moment, I'll show you. Okay, so this is a setup that I have made to show how any kind of electromagnetic wave or current travels in a wire or anything, how AC or alternating current travels. So that is how it travels. Now, if you observe, it seems like it's traveling, but it's not. It's just rotating in one place, like a drill machine. Okay, you can also reverse the direction. So this is either supplying energy or taking energy. This is how you can charge or discharge things. Now this is AC. Okay, this is not DC. This is AC. What is DC? I'll just loosen this cap. It's too tight. Okay. Now I'll place it in such a way that this thing will start pushing the cap. It's actually difficult to hold it this way, but I hope you're getting the point. If rotated in a specific way, uh, this thing will push this cap ahead, okay, which will act as a direct impact on it. So that is how DC would work. So it's more like a spring reciprocating action in case of DC and a rotary action in case of AC. It will just directly keep pushing it forward, just like that. But in case of AC, you see the tip is not like that. And yeah, I'll have to come up with a better model for explaining DC. But yeah, this explains AC pretty well. Okay. Uh, Actually, I have a 3D model of how AC and DC actually work, and that link I've provided in my I don't know, journal. Let's say, yeah, it's a journal or diary. It's not a paper because it's quite large now. I have made many mistakes in it. I'll be correcting them soon. Since I've been writing it a very long time, and uh, I've, I've missed out some corrections. I've made some corrections. I've repeated a few things. I've not mentioned a few things because I've written them in different places. I'll be compiling them soon. I'll be adding images and other kind of representations, equations to it. Also, I have this. Um, yeah, I've been using a few softwares now. This one is from Figma. It's a free online tool like Adobe. So allows us to create like animations like this. So I've used this to used Figma for this, and I have used Desmos calculator to show how this works. So this doesn't have an equation as you see. Like I'm showing it to you practically, but this is not scalable, and this is not like you cannot use this to generate energy. You need a formula, mathematics for that. So I have used that in Desmos calculator. I have come up with a formula. It's a parametric trigonometric function. So that would be used for representing and making this and replicating all kinds of energies. I think I've covered most of the topics. Yeah, just one more thing because I haven't mentioned it. Uh, it's related to see, my theory will cover everything, even biology in it, at least the basic. So once like the fundamentals of physics is cleared, and after that, the basic chemistry bonding, how it's done, that bonding will only lead to biological cells being formed and microorganisms. So the thing is, three basic types of bond that you might know. If you don't, then I'll tell you: ionic bond, where electrons are um, transferred, yeah, from one atom to the other. That's ionic bond. In covalent bond, they are shared, and there is this coordinate bond in which it's a covalent bond, but then the uh, compound which is formed, a radical, not a compound. Now, why it's called a radical? Because it has a charge on it. So it's like an ion, but it's in a molecule form. So it's got properties of both covalent bond and ionic bond. Uh, so that will further explain how um, life and birth like works and reproduction and everything. So I have written it down. I'm frankly very tired right now after this, and I'm not able to recollect everything, each and everything. I'm trying most of it. I'm not referring to any book. There's nothing around me. This is all just in my head. So I just came up with something. I completely forgot about it. Just give me a moment. I've explained how polarization works. In polarization, they show that light waves travel like that, transverse waves, and some are blocked, some are allowed, and that is why no, it doesn't work that way. It's a spiral, and according to how you hold the crystal or whatever your light rays, let's just use rays for now, are passing through. So it depends on how you hold the crystal. So that's how it will block a certain plane of rotation. Like as I said, I'm using trigonometry to formulate the motion of these waves. So there is sine function and cos functions. So if one of them is blocked, you you get a polarized light. If both are blocked, you get nothing, no light. How do you block both of them? You use two polarizers kept 90 degrees apart from each other. So, and I also told you that there is no zero, so it's not completely black after that. It's just very, very dim, but there will be some light passing through it. That is one more reason why zero does not exist. So, anytime if you're facing a problem with zero, just take a very small value, very small number, but make sure like your calculator doesn't break down with it. And since there is a smallest number, there has to be a largest number. As I said, the universe is finite since it's only been around for a limited time. So there's not like there's no infinite energy in the universe. There is a finite amount of energy. So yeah, so that is one more thing about why and how the universe is finite. Apart from that, I've also worked on sound, and you know what? I'll just refer to the topics that I have prepared. Mm, I'm also trying to find the value of pi because I think in reality an ideal circle does not exist. The detailed explanations I'll give later on. Yeah, very important about life, death, and black holes. Let's just use the basic information that most of us might have what black holes are. So, black hole is a region of space where not even light can escape due to its gravity being that strong. So, any kind of information that we send in it, it doesn't come out. So, it's also known as the Great Annihilator because of that. Now, what about this? Let's think about the time that we were not born. Do we have any memory or information about it? No. Do we know when we are going to die, how, and what will happen after our death? We don't have that information. Even if that information is given to us, we are not absolutely sure that it would happen. It is uncertain. That is the only uncertainty. It is fixed, like it will happen. You know that it's not uncertain. It's just we are limited with our like abilities. We have finite amount of abilities, and that is why we cannot calculate those things. So you we can consider it, and I have modeled it out that uh, the life that we live is just a region within the event horizon of a black hole. We can assume that before life we were in a black hole. When we are born, we just come outside the black hole in an order to in yeah in order to escape it. We reach the event horizon, which is our peak time. The best moments of our life, you can say. And after that, we start falling back in a parabolic path towards the black hole, and that's how we approach death. Now, then you might think, like, if it's a parabolic path, then why the sudden deaths? It is because you might try to do something, someone else, like the paths will collide of someone else. You can imagine it just like a black hole and particles trying to escape it. Okay, things going outside it. Now, some particles will collide and fall, like their trajectories will change, the path will change, and they will fall straight into the black hole. They might not even reach the event horizon. That is when you can say you didn't have a very good life, and then you went inside the black hole. And next time you come out, you won't have any memory of who you were before that. More reasons for us not to have memory in our next life, if that is a possible thing, is because how do we even have any memory that we have? How and why did I take so long to discover all these things? Whatever I'm doing, or why will it take you any amount of time to achieve something? Why not? It's there from the beginning. Wha- Again, because everything is finite, and we gather charge in us from birth. We start gathering. When we are born, we have nothing, just a little amount of mass, little bit of biology, little bit of chemistry in us. Okay, nothing, no input, just we are like empty, uh, like a stock phone bought from a market, just hardware, no software. Once you start growing up, and knowledge is added to us, more mass is added to us by eating food, exercising, and things that we do usually. That is the reason how we build memory. Our muscles, our entire body is just memory. It's because we have concentrated the energy over here. This is a part of my theory. I call it the energy concentration theory. It is the reason why we take decisions the way we do. Most of the decisions we take are forced on us. It's not our fault. It's not due to because we want to do it. Now, let's say you want to eat something. You will have something in mind. Okay. Now, you might think it's your original idea to eat it, but think about it. You were introduced to that thing by someone else. It's not you who discovered it, and even if you discovered it, it's not you who made it. it would be someone else. So everything that you do is subconsciously controlled by someone else, not you. So everything is predestined. But it's good that we don't keep thinking about it all the time. That everything is automatic and we have no control over our lives. Yeah, you might think that at times, and that is correct. But it's good that our minds are such that we don't think about it that usual, because so many random things happen around us that we just cannot compute and calculate all those elements, and so we end up thinking that no, we have control over us, like control over everything around us. It's not like that. You can have control of things around you a little bit, but it's just what uh, you are made to feel. Frankly speaking, it's not what is happening. It's just an illusion. It's just energy being concentrated in and around you, and you feel superior to others, but it's not in your hands. So I know this is a lot of philosophy that I'm saying right now, but it does go hand in hand in my theory. So yeah, some things will be philosophical, most of the things will have other scientific proof, and I think I've said enough, and I'd like to end this lecture over here. It's been very long. I'll uh, I'll continue with the other explanation, and finish the draft and like make it proper, complete finished version, and publish it soon, so it will be available for everyone. And I'm hoping that it should be available to all schools and colleges, so that any kind of misinformation, misleading information that has been circulating around since ages till now, that is gone. Like in physics book, they have mentioned dual nature of light. Like the the book authors themselves are not sure about something. The quantum mechanics was the entire, like, the reason why quantum mechanics was made was because like we are not able to determine things. Now again, in that way, I would say probability. There is nothing such as probability. Everything is fixed. Now, if you're saying you're playing cards, it's the reason why you don't know which cards you have is because they're face down. If you look at the cards and start giving it, you will definitely like have 100% chances of, not chances, you will win 100%, because you are seeing the information. Hiding information, you cannot call it probability. It's just hiding information. It's just trying to trick someone. It is not about chance. And yeah, so, and I've seen this one series of Einstein called Genius. Okay, season one. In that, they show that Einstein and Niels Bohr are in a shop, and they are arguing over this. Where Einstein quotes something to Niels Bohr, and I keep that in mind all the time, and I do believe in that. Einstein, I think he was an atheist, but uh, he still made this comment on Niels Bohr. He quoted that God does not play dice with the universe. I do believe that. Now, I don't think any, like, whoever the creator is was such that he created things so ultimately perfect, like how the universe works at the largest scale. The Earth is rotating around the sun since so long. The climate is so, like, so specific, and many things are so predictable because this information is so easily available, and it's applicable to such huge, gigantic celestial bodies. Now, if God was playing dice with the universe, or the creator was like not paying attention to what he was doing, random things would start happening. It doesn't happen. Things work just fine. Now, there is chaos on earth, I know. It's, again, I'm saying it's because it's forced upon us. It's not by choice, it's by whatever you call it, by force. Yeah, and that is again due to energy concentration. Too much energy at one place, and it will seem like chaos, but it is predestined to begin a war. So again, in that context, there is no zero and there is no one, because one would mean the universe is completely full. In that way, I'm saying, okay, if you're saying all or nothing, so there is nothing called as all, and there is nothing as nothing. So there is only things between nothing and everything. So that is everything and anything that you see around you, me, and everything. So it's like, all this is not all. Everything is not all. I know it doesn't sound very what to call it. I'm very tired. Yeah, I'll just end this, and um, I think I should prepare much better next time. I haven't, practiced what I'm going to say. Most of the time, I'm looking at the screen instead of looking at the camera. I know it might get irritating for you people. So, but anyways, thank you for listening so much, and I'll try my best to finish my work as soon as possible. Um, if you have this question in mind that why am I doing all this, I don't know. I just have this curiosity of making things as simple as possible, as unified and united. Like, why so many arguments in like science? There's so many different arguments. This person has done that, this person has done this assumption works only if this happens, otherwise it won't work. If you use this assumption, you cannot use the other assumption. This is an exception, it doesn't work in this case, but it will work in another case. Now, yeah, because of this, I'm reminded that if there are no negative numbers, so there is no square root of negative numbers, so there is nothing as complex numbers, so we can simply discard that. It will be so much easier. I know what complex numbers are, I know to calculate them, but let's just say we'll stick to the thing that whenever we face things that don't come up on our screen, it's because it's either inside or outside the screen. It's just 3D. So that, and yeah, thank you for your time and patience. See you. Bye.